Capital One and American Express offer some top-tier rewards, but do so in very different ways, with each of them having cards tailored to specific lifestyles, along with powerful perks and benefits if you know how to maximize them. So in this video, you'll learn exactly which cards are actually worth it, how to maximize value with real examples, major updates announced just this year, and underrated setups you've probably never heard of, all to help you build the right strategy for you. And let's start with what both issuers offer at the foundation level. Some may call these starter or beginner cards, but honestly, these cards belong in anyone's wallet. And yes, while American Express is known for their premium lineup of cards, they still offer some solid value here. But first, with Capital One, their cards are more straightforward, like offering 1.5% back on everything you spend, no limit, no categories, no annual fees, and no fuss, with the Capital One Quicksilver card. Plus, you'll earn 5% back when booking hotels and car rentals through the Capital One travel portal. I know, travel portals get a bad rep, but Capital One's consistently has prices that are comparable to Google Flights and other third-party sites, and include some form of built-in price drop protection. I've personally saved over $100 on a recent trip from this perk alone. Then there's the Capital One Saver card, which trades a lower 1% base rate for all of your spend for higher rewards in categories people commonly spend in, like dining, groceries, entertainment, and select streaming services, along with the same 5% back when booking hotels and car rentals through their portal. Both cards come with a welcome bonus of $200 back after spending just $500 in the first 3 months. A solid 40% back on that initial spend, and an amount that should be within reach for most people. And best of all, no foreign transaction fees, which is a rare perk for cards of this tier. Now, how does American Express compare? While they don't have a no annual fee card that offers a higher base rate than 1%, they do have a solid saver competitor with their Blue Cash Everyday card, offering 3% back at US supermarket groceries, US online retail, and US gas stations, each up to $6,000 of spend per year. The grocery multiplier is a bit weaker here with the cap and has a slightly harder to hit welcome bonus, but online retail and gas are categories that are unique that you wouldn't see in cards of this tier, offering great value for a no annual fee card. The downside, it charges foreign transaction fees unlike Capital One. Where it pulls ahead though is the $7 per month Disney bundle credit, which is an $84 per year credit if you use it. Now, technically, this is the only true no annual fee foundation card from American Express, but I'd also consider the Blue Cash Preferred card here as well, because while it does have a $95 annual fee after the first year, it starts with a $0 intro annual fee and could actually be the better card depending on your spend. The welcome bonus is slightly higher, and it also includes the same Disney bundle credit, but where it really shines are the multipliers, giving 6% back at US supermarket groceries up to $6,000 of spend per year, 6% on select streaming, 3% on transit including parking, tolls, and rideshare, and 3% on US gas stations with no cap. Now, if your goal is online retail, then the Blue Cash Everyday card is still better. But if you're spending over $3,200 per year or $267 per month in groceries, you'll earn more than enough to cover the annual fee over the Saver or the Blue Cash Everyday card. Add in transit, streaming, or gas stations, and the value really adds up, and can be a better value even year 2 onwards with the annual fee, depending on your spending habits. One thing to keep in mind though, although American Express's acceptance has increased a lot, where even in some more rural places in Malaysia, restaurants still took it, it's still not quite on par with Visa and MasterCard. So I wouldn't want an American Express card as my only card in the wallet. Alright, now moving on to the next tier of cards, which is where things get pretty interesting, with rewards potentially exceeding thousands of dollars if you play your cards right. With Capital One, we start off with a really unique situation with the Capital One Venture One card, a no annual fee card earning 1.25 miles per dollar spent and 5 times miles booking hotels and car rentals through the same portal, with a similar welcome bonus. Now, why is this card so unique? Because based on what I just said, it seems kind of boring and bland. Well, it's because this card earns you venture miles on a no annual fee card that you can then transfer and book for higher value through travel partners. This unlock typically requires a card with annual fees, like a Chase Sapphire card with Chase, or a Citi Strata Premier with Citi. And not just that, but you can also convert your cashback rewards from your Saver and Quicksilver cards to venture miles at a 1 cent per mile rate, meaning 3% cashback could be equivalent of 3 times venture miles back. To be clear, do not do this if you're planning to just go through cashback, because venture miles will only get you 0.5 cents per mile. Their value really shines when you're redeeming towards random travel purchases at 1 cent per mile, or going through travel partners, possibly getting north of 2 cents per mile or more. That said, I probably still would not recommend the Venture One card for most people, not when Capital One has 2 more powerful alternatives, like the Capital One Venture card with a $95 annual fee that earns 2 times miles on all spend. On its own, the additional fee only makes sense if you're spending more than $19,000 per year on the card to break even with the additional half mile per dollar spent. But the 75,000 mile welcome bonus after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months more than covers the annual fee and then some. That's worth at least $750 in travel without even factoring in other perks like the Lifestyle Collection hotels, TSA PreCheck or Global Entry credit, or Hertz 5-star status for rental cars. But honestly, even though I have this card, my eyes are still set on their flagship Capital One Venture X card as the most value one, even with some brutal changes coming soon. For a higher $395 in annual fees, it's still one of the more affordable premium cards out there. And with the yearly $300 travel credit through the portal, and remember, Capital One's portal is one of the better ones, which again has consistently had great pricing and given me a smooth experience, plus 10,000 anniversary miles worth at least $100 or more in travel. Those alone already offset the annual fee, not to mention the similarly large welcome bonus. That's already better than the Venture card, not including all of the other amazing perks and benefits, like 10 times miles when booking hotels and car rentals through the portal, that's double, and then 5 times miles when booking flights through the portal, which is new on this card. You also get airport lounge access, perks like the Premier Collection, and a higher Hertz President Circle status. That said, the card will have a massive downgrade starting February 1st, 2026 that we have to talk about. First, they will no longer be offering any guests into Capital One lounges or the Priority Pass lounges with this card, unless you hit some kind of high spend threshold. This really hurts because they used to have unlimited guests in Priority Pass lounges and then dropped to 2 and then now soon none. And second, you'll still get free authorized users, but they will not get their own lounge benefits unless you pay $125 each. These changes will hurt group travelers and families the most. And honestly, cutting Priority Pass guests down to 0 is pretty unheard of. I know a lot of you will not be happy about this. Now, on the American Express side, this is where the ecosystem really shines if you're willing to put in the effort. Starting with the Amex Gold, it's one of the best earners out there, offering 4 times back at restaurants worldwide, up to $50,000 per year, 4 times back at US supermarket groceries, up to $25,000 per year, 3 times points on flights booked directly or through the portal, and 2 times points booking prepaid hotels also through the portal, all for a still pretty hefty $325 annual fee. Now, the base welcome bonus is on the lower side at 60,000 points after spending $6,000 in the first 6 months, but you can often find higher ones like targeted offers of 90 or even 100,000 points if you're lucky. To help offset that fee, you do have several monthly credits to use, but they take effort for sure. $10 per month on Uber Cash, which can be used for rides or Uber Eats. $7 per month at Dunkin', which can be used towards in-app reloads. $50 twice a year to Resi restaurants, probably one of the better perks if anything. And $10 a month to a narrow list of restaurants or food services. If you use all of them, that's $424 in annual value, which is more than the annual fee. But if you only say use half of it or get half the value, then you're relying on the multipliers or welcome bonus to really offset that fee. Or maybe you find value booking the hotel collection, which does include some extra perks and benefits too. One more step up is their flagship American Express Platinum card. I've had this card for over 6 years now, and if you thought the gold card takes effort, wait till you hear about the Platinum card. At a much higher $695 annual fee, with tougher to use multipliers with 5 times on flights booked direct or the portal, 5 times at prepaid hotels booked through the portal, and that's pretty much it. To really justify the annual fee, you'll need to make the most out of the credits, which American Express quotes at over $1,500 of value. Personally, I do get enough value to at least cover the annual fee with the airline fee credit, hotel credit, Uber Cash, and Saks Fifth Avenue, but you'll need to weigh these credits based off of your own habits. Or if the other non-credit benefits give you some significant value like they do for me. For example, the Centurion Lounge access, which is nice but also doesn't allow guests unless you hit a certain spending threshold. Priority Pass, Plaza Premium, and other lounge networks that still allow guests for now. Marriott and Hilton Gold status, which has gotten me a few upgrades here and there, and benefits like return protection and access to the Fine Hotels and Resorts collection, which is much broader and a better selection compared to Capital One, among other benefits. Oh, and the welcome bonuses here are sometimes huge, going as high as 175,000 points after spending just $8,000 in the first 6 months. That said, the big downside with American Express are the points. Going to cashback, you're only getting 0.6 cents per point, unless you have the Charles Schwab version of the card and can cash out to your Schwab account with 1.1 cents per point. That turns a 175,000 point welcome bonus to $1,925 in your account. But unlike Capital One, you cannot apply these points to just any random travel purchase. So unless you have the Charles Schwab version of the card and cashing out that way, or going through travel partners, the value can be quite limited. And that's where American Express really shines with travel partners, which is kind of the running theme here, not only with American Express, but also Capital One to an extent. The most value comes not from cash back or even booking through the portal, it's through their travel partners. And even though they share a lot of the same programs, there are some standout ones that can tip the scale depending on your travel goals. So let me show you 3 real examples that are actually bookable right now as I'm filming this. First, Aeroplan, one of my favorite programs where you can transfer from both Capital One and American Express. And remember, it's not just about booking Air Canada, but its network of airlines as well, like Star Alliance. Take Japan, for example. You can book a one-way business class flight from LA to Tokyo for 75,000 points and $57 in taxes and fees. The same flight has a cash value of about $2,900, giving you a redemption value of 3.8 cents per point. Even if you wouldn't pay near that in cash, it's still significantly higher in value. Flying Blue, another shared provider, is also great for Europe, offering business class flights for just 60,000 miles one way. Then there's a more personal standout with Capital One, and that's transferring to EVA miles, even with the slightly worse ratio of 2 to 1.5, and that's because Taipei is an underrated gateway to the rest of Asia, and EVA has amazing award space with their own airline if you're planning even just a little bit ahead, often for more than one person. With the award chart showing flights to Asia in business class costing you 75,000 miles, which would mean about 100,000 Capital One miles after the ratio. Still, when the same flight will cost you $2,600, you're still getting a pretty decent 2.6 cents per mile on one of the best airlines in the world. Along with the 2 other benefits mentioned earlier, it's a pretty reasonable rate. And over to the Amex side, a recent upgrade to the ANA program makes that unique partner even better. You used to have to book round-trip redemptions, but now you can do one-ways, and the value is quite insane. For example, a one-way business class flight from San Francisco to Tokyo will only cost 52,500 miles and about $178 in fees. The same flight in cash, almost $4,000. That's a redemption value of 7.2 cents per point, more than 10x what you would get if you were to go through cashback. Even if you devalue by half or even a third, you're still getting some incredible value. So what's the overall strategy here? Well, if your goal is pure cashback, take a look at your previous few months of spend and see where most of it goes to in terms of categories. If it's groceries, maybe the Amex Blue Cash Preferred could be a winner. Lots of dining and entertainment but don't care for any credits, the Capital One Saver One could be a better fit. If you want to keep things simple, no credits, and trying to break even with an annual fee, Capital One might be more your style, especially when the no annual fee Venture One card already unlocks transferring those Venture miles to travel partners, again without an annual fee. But if you want the highest ceiling when it comes to value and you don't mind putting in a bit of effort, then Amex is where the potential really opens up. That said, here's a few other miscellaneous but important tips to keep in mind. If your company uses American Express with corporate cards and you have one, you could get discounts across their American Express personal cards, which can really tip the scale. Amex offers are much more valuable compared to Capital One offers and are usually given as statement credits once the charge hits your card. With Capital One, they're typically lower in value and require you to purchase through a specific link, making it so you cannot stack other portals like Rakuten. Then there's rumors about American Express's lineup getting a massive refresh later this year, likely with higher annual fees, but most of the time, if you're an existing cardholder, you'll lock in the existing lower fee for another year at least. And while there's no reason you can't hold cards from both ecosystems, you'll want to be wary of American Express because their welcome bonuses are once per card per lifetime, so you don't want to waste it on a lower offer. Because the difference between a baseline 80,000 point bonus compared to the higher 175,000 point bonus could be another business class flight halfway around the world, but only if you use those points in the right way. So check out this video here for an in-depth walkthrough and I'll see you over there.